Well, hello there, you amazing, beautiful, wonderful people. It's Thursday. It's Thursday. I'm pretty sure it's Thursday. You're looking absolutely amazing, by the way, and I'm going to get straight into the meat and potatoes as I'm busy, you're busy, and we've got a lot to get through because there has been an absolute shit ton of docs released. I did do a community post yesterday saying that I will be going through all of the documents. I'll do a video on each of the documents, cutting out all the crap, but I'm going to be doing that round what I've got to do, so bear with me, but I will get through it. But in this one, we're going over... So I'll play the doc on the screen while we're, so you can actually read through the entire doc if you want, but I'm just going to go through the important bits. The doc is, the state's reply to the defendant's objection to motion in limine referencing the text messages testimony. So it says, come now, the state of Idaho, Bryan through the Latah County prosecuting attorney, and respectfully replies to defendant's objection to state's motion in limine referencing the text messages and testimony filed on March 17th, 2025. The defendant includes additional records from Dylan Mortensen and Bethany Funk's phone for the court's review. So this is where the state brings out a load of text messages. They put them out publicly and it's got this timeline. You can see some of the things that's happening. But conveniently, a lot of them things are missing. We knew they were missing because obviously the state wants to put a certain picture across that is heavily biased, and then the defence comes along and says, hold on a second, bosh, have that, and shows a load of records which filled in a lot of the blanks with regards to the communications between Dylan Mortensen, Bethany Funk and multiple third parties in the aftermath of the atrocity at 1122 King Road. So we have two kind of references from either side of the fence, one omitted quite a lot and the other one not so much, and the rest is history. So what this doc is about, right, the be-all and end-all of this doc, and again, it's playing on the screen so you can go through it, but I don't need to read the entire doc. So what they're basically saying is that you might be arguing it, but that's fucking by and by. The fact that you're showing more information is still not getting away from the point that this should be included in the court. Do you know what I mean? But what we're seeing here consistently is the defence basically saying you are constantly fucking cherry picking. You're cherry picking what you allow, what you don't allow. And rather than showing every single thing, you'll show a proportion of things to just get your point across, while trying to block us from saying, hold on a second, you need to see everything. You need to see everything, because when you see everything, the picture kind of changes. The landscape of everything is adapted. And that's consistently been my issue here, because it's consistently the same thing that you see in every element of this case, with the chopping and changing and snipping out bits by the prosecution. And they're doing it here. They're doing it here as well. So not only have we seen it in multiple other areas, it's like I referenced to, it's like the car, for instance, and saying, well, the car, or Amazon, saying, oh, we've got click activity from this, but you don't show the entire thing, you just show a proportion or a segment, or the car travelling, you show a proportion or a segment and not the bigger picture. Like how this all started before the weaponisation of the gag order, and that is that the PCA tries to paint a picture of Bryan Kohberger being a stalker by saying, oh, he goes to this area 12 times, but you failing to cut out that you knew what he was doing during those 12 times. You know where he went, and most importantly, you know where he didn't go. But with respect of this now, what the state are turning around and saying is, all of the other stuff that you've got, all of the other communications, that's irrelevant. We want to bring the communications between Dylan Mortensen and Bethany Funk and what happened up to 7:37 in the morning, because we're going to show that they actually went to sleep then. Actually went to sleep. 4:37 in the morning, bosh, beddy boys, sleeping, bollocks. There is no fucking... Those two things that you're suggesting can't be in the same space. They can't exist. They can't coexist. Excited utterances, that rush of adrenaline caused by knowing that something's happening and being scared and being afraid and being like, oh, I'm freaking the fuck out. There's something going on. I'm seeing a masked man who looks like Fireman fucking Sam, and he's carrying a Hoover. And I don't think he's here to hoover or vacuum for you guys over in the US. But then on the flip side of it, saying that just a few minutes later, like literally like what we're saying, 17 minutes later, after the Elantra is seen driving away from this scene, they go Betty buys? While we've already, as the public, seen that ain't the case. We can see that there's multiple communications after 4:37. Constantly. There is communication between, they're trying to reach out to the parents, they're going on Snapchat. That literally, I think the last message that is, or the last action that they want to push out, that this is the prosecution, is Dylan Mortensen, I think it's Dylan Mortensen, might be Bethany Fung, I'll show it on the screen, is going on Snapchat, where later on she goes on Snapchat at a later point in the morning and spends like 2 or 3 hours on there. Do you know what I mean? This is gaslighting at its finest. Gaslighting at its finest. They're basically saying, look, we've got it, we know you've seen it, but we're going to try and make out that it don't exist. You just got to ignore that. If it goes to court, you'll have your chance to have a chat about it, but that's irrelevant. How is it irrelevant? These cases and crimes and this process should be transparent all the way through. Absolutely transparent. And there is no transparency here. This is one-sided cherry picking of information that you want to pick and choose to show and be part of this trial. How is that right? That is manipulation. That is absolute manipulation of the system. And nobody should be happy with it. But I guess that because this is against Bryan Kohberger, that there'll be the guilters, for instance, will be like, oh, that's fine. That isn't relevant. It's not. Of course, it's fucking relevant, because we're trying to ascertain whether Dylan Mortensen, Bethany Funk, and multiple other people knew what had happened in that property prior to the 911 call being made. And that is absolutely important. And if I was a victim's parent, I would absolutely want to know how long before 911 called were people around this property aware of what had happened, and why law enforcement was not contacted at the absolute earliest time possible. Because we are hearing things that just don't make sense. I've constantly said, what was the domino that triggered the call? What was the domino that triggered the 911 call? When we are literally hearing play out during the call, apparently, the apparent reason for the call. So what was the reason? And there are so many issues with this situation. There's so many issues. Like, they're talking about Xana Canodal, the fact that she'd drunk so much she was passed out, and trying to leverage this piece of information. Like, well, we know she drunk this much, and it was. Well, what happened to ordering fucking food? What has happened to this DoorDash that's just up sticks and fucked off like a fart in the wind? There's so many things that are just being left out and chopped away, and again, I'm for the danger of sounding repetitive. And, you know, I get so many people who are saying, you should leave these girls alone, you should leave these girls alone. It's easy for people to say, you should leave these people alone when you have no skin in the game. This ain't about, I haven't even turned around and said, like, some of the worst things, like people have said that they're physically involved. Like, they physically did. There are people who are out there who believe that they could have possibly been involved in this crime. Now, all I'm trying to do is make sense why 911 was called, when it was called, and why it wasn't called when it should have been called. Well, you are being lied to by it's not even about being lied to. The prosecution, again, and I am being repetitive, is just cherry picking what information they're allowing to be part of the trial, and trying to brush everything else under the carpet as if there's like nothing to see here, nothing to see here. Well, there is something to see here. This atrocity happened, people knew about it, and they did nothing about it. Let me know down below what you think, and I'll catch you all in the next one.